You know, there's a moment in every young adult's life where money stops being just numbers on a screen and suddenly turns into something emotional, something heavy. Rent, groceries, gas, maybe a birthday gift you couldn't afford last year, maybe that one month where you had to say not this time because your bank account basically whispered, don't even try. And deep down, you can feel it. Your life would look completely different if you had even one income stream that actually worked, one path that didn't drain you or disappoint you, one thing that didn't require luck or unrealistic skills, just a real way to earn more, a way to breathe again. Most people don't find that path. They bounce from trend to trend, searching, hoping, trying things that look good on TikTok but don't work in real life. But if you're watching this right now, then you're already ahead of the average person. You're curious, you're intentional, you're not looking for a fantasy, you're looking for a clear map. And that's exactly what this video gives you tonight. We're ranking the best side hustles for 2026 from the least profitable to the absolute best, not based on hype. Not based on what influencers are selling, but based on real earning potential and where the market is actually going. And by the time we reach the top of this list, you'll know exactly which path fits your time, your skills, your lifestyle, and your ambition. That's the promise. And by the end, your view of the next 12 months might look completely different. Before we dive in, here's a quick sense of what's coming. You're about to walk through 7 real side hustles that thousands of people are already using to change their income. We'll start at the bottom with something that looks passive but hits its ceiling early. Then we move toward hands-on hustles that earn solid money but don't scale. Then into the high-skill paths that pay extremely well. And finally, the 2 at the top, the ones with the highest profit potential in 2026, because the economy is shifting quickly and technology is creating new opportunities that didn't even exist a decade ago. These final 2 are the ones that have quietly created more new millionaires in the last few years than any other model on this list, and we'll get to them soon. Let's start at the bottom and rise step by step. There's something almost comforting about vending and automated machines. The idea sounds simple. You place a machine somewhere, stock it with snacks or drinks, and money comes in while you sleep. And on the surface, that idea is exactly why so many people start here. The startup cost is manageable, usually $1,000 to $8,000 per machine, depending on whether you buy used, refurbished, or new. The difficulty isn't extreme either. On a scale of 1 to 10, it sits around a 6, mostly because of the physical work and the hunt for good locations. You can find used machines, you can place them in gyms, offices, schools, small businesses, you refill them, you collect cash. And yes, some placements can bring in a few $100s a month. Some rare ones might cross $1,000. In fact, a realistic range is around $150 to $1,000 plus per machine depending on traffic. And people hear that and think, this is it, this is my passive income. But this is where reality sets in. The entire business depends on one single thing: location. A slow location turns your machine into an expensive decoration. A high-traffic location might be great, but guess who already secured those spots? Companies that have been doing this for years, so you end up spending time driving around, negotiating with owners, moving heavy machines, refilling, cleaning, repairing jams, and tracking inventory. It's work. More work than people expect. It's not passive. And while it can be profitable, it stops scaling fast. There's a ceiling here, and once you hit it, you'll realize you're basically running a small hardware business that depends on foot traffic and luck. That's why we start here. It works, but it won't change your life unless you build a huge route. Now, moving up the list, the next hustle feels more alive, more personal, and more directly tied to effort: mobile auto detailing. There's something satisfying about transforming a car from dull to spotless, and people pay for that transformation. Especially busy professionals, real estate agents, parents, and ride-share drivers who want their cars to look good without wasting their day at a shop. And the best part is the startup cost stays relatively low, usually between $500 and $5,000, depending on how advanced your setup is. The difficulty sits at a 5 out of 10, mostly because it's skill-driven, but not overly technical. With just a few tools, a vacuum, pressure washer, towels, basic products, you can start offering small packages. A simple wash might be $100. A deeper clean, $200. A full premium ceramic coating can go up to $1,000. And when done consistently, a realistic income range sits around $1,000 to $12,000+ per month, depending on volume and premium services. And unlike vending, your income grows as your skills grow. You learn better techniques. You deliver better results. You get referrals. It's fast to start and fast to earn, but it also faces a limitation. You are the business. Your time becomes the limit. Every car takes time and energy. If you want to scale, you need a team, vehicles, equipment, scheduling systems, and training. That's where many people stop. They reach a few $1,000s a month, feel stable, but the ceiling appears quickly. It's a great hustle, but it doesn't reach the heights of what's coming next. Climbing higher, we enter the world of hospitality with short-term rental host management. Instead of owning a property, you operate it for someone else. You manage their Airbnb or VRBO. You handle messages, bookings, cleanings, check-ins, and pricing. And while you skip the cost of buying real estate, there is a startup cost, usually between $3,000 and $50,000, depending on whether you build a full operational setup, software stack, cleaning infrastructure, and branding. The difficulty sits at around a 7 out of 10, mostly because you're dealing with people, logistics, and constant moving parts. And the profit potential can be impressive. A well-run property can realistically generate $500 to $8,000+ per month in profit, depending on its size and location. And because you don't own the property, you avoid the biggest barrier capital. But when you dig deeper, you see the challenges. Regulations are tightening in many U.S. cities. Some areas don't allow short-term rentals. Tourism is unpredictable. Cleaning teams can be inconsistent. A single bad guest can create damage or bad reviews. And every property is its own mini business with its own problems. You're effectively managing people, operations, and expectations. It's profitable, and some managers build real businesses with multiple units. But the volatility and the operational intensity put it in the middle of our ranking. Strong potential, but not the strongest. As we rise into the top half, we reach something that quietly prints money in the real world. Skilled trades, micro-contracting, appliance repairs, small plumbing jobs, minor electrical fixes, home tasks that require knowledge, confidence, and technique. The reason this is so valuable is because the demand is massive. The U.S. is facing a shortage of skilled tradespeople. People aren't joining the field at the same rate older workers are retiring, and that creates a gap, one you can step into. Getting started does require some investment, typically $2,000 to $20,000 for tools, training, licensing, and transportation. And the difficulty sits at around a 7 out of 10. Not because it's complicated at a master level, but because it requires training, practice, and confidence. But once you get the basics down, the earning potential becomes real. A realistic income range sits around $2,000 to $15,000+ per month, depending on how many calls you take and how specialized you become. You don't need to become a master electrician or a full plumber. You can start with minor repairs, simple fixes, and specific specialties. A single repair can earn you more in an hour than some people make in an entire shift. A small appliance fix might be $150. A water heater issue could be $300. And once you're trained, the margins are high because you're being paid for knowledge, not for expensive materials. This hustle rewards consistency and skill. And unlike trends, this isn't going away. People will always need repairs. But even with the strong earnings, it doesn't beat the digital models above it because your physical time still limits your income. Now we move toward the top, where income becomes less tied to your hours and more tied to your expertise. This is the world of high-ticket creator services. Think of the entire creator economy. YouTubers, TikTokers, podcasters, businesses making content. They're all trying to grow, they're all trying to post more, and most of them need help. Editors, channel managers, strategists, script writers, thumbnail designers, operations partners, people who can help them move faster and produce more. And what makes this so attractive is how accessible it is. The startup cost is incredibly low, usually $0 to $3,000, depending on whether you already have a laptop, software, and basic tools. The difficulty sits at a 5 out of 10 because the barrier isn't money, it's skill, communication, and understanding how creators think. And the pay reflects the demand. Realistically, clients can bring in $1,000 to $20,000+ per month per client, depending on the level of service, responsibilities, and the size of the creator. A single client can pay $1,000 or $2,000 a month. Bigger clients pay more. And when you get good at this, you can take on multiple clients and build a strong monthly income. This hustle is powerful because it fits the modern world. Content isn't slowing down, brands aren't posting less, and creators aren't shrinking, they're growing. The opportunity is everywhere. But there's one thing that keeps this from being number one. Like, you're still exchanging skill and expertise for money. You can scale with a team, but your business still depends on active work. The top positions on this list win because they break that limitation. Now we enter the top 2. This is where the real profit lives. This is where leverage becomes real. The second most profitable side hustle for 2026 is AI automation. And if you've been paying attention to the world lately, you already know why. Every business is trying to save time. Every founder wants faster operations. Every team wants fewer repetitive tasks. AI tools aren't toys anymore. They're becoming the backbone of how work gets done. And what makes this even more accessible is the low barrier to entry. The startup cost ranges from $0 to $5,000, depending on the tools, software, and systems you choose to build with. The difficulty sits around a 6 out of 10. Not because it requires coding, but because it requires problem-solving, creativity, and understanding how businesses operate. And the earning potential is strong. Realistically, this model can generate $1,000 to $30,000 plus per month, depending on your clients and the size of the automations you build. Imagine helping a local business automate their customer messages, appointment booking, reminders, lead tracking, or support tickets. Imagine automating a creator's content process or a startup's onboarding flow. You're not doing tiny tasks, you're rebuilding how they operate. And businesses will pay for that. A project can earn you $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, and many companies will then pay a monthly retainer for ongoing updates. The learning curve is easier than people think. You don't need to be a programmer. You just need curiosity, consistency, and problem solving. This model has exploded for a reason. It's profitable, it's scalable, and it's growing fast. But there is still one hustle above it, because the number one spot belongs to something that scales without you. And now we reach the top. The most profitable side hustle for 2026 is Micro-SaaS, a small software tool that solves one specific problem for one specific group of people. Once it works, it scales almost endlessly. 10 users, 100 users, 1,000 users. And you don't need to work harder each time someone signs up. That's leverage. That's the reason software companies are valued so highly. That's why SaaS products can turn into real assets. It does come with a barrier. Building a real tool, whether you code it or use no code, usually requires a startup cost of $2,000 to $50,000 for development, testing, infrastructure, and launch. And the difficulty sits at around an 8 out of 10, because you're solving real problems, not just doing tasks. But once you break through that initial wall, the upside becomes massive. Realistically, Micro-SaaS can make anywhere from $0 to $50,000 plus per month, depending on traction, niche, and how well your product fits the market. You can build these tools without knowing how to code. No-code platforms let you drag and drop. AI tools can write code for you. And if you solve a real problem, something that saves time, saves money, removes frustration, or automates a process, people will pay. $10 a month, $20, $50. And when you get even a small group of loyal users, your income becomes steady and predictable. Some Micro-SaaS products make $5,000 a month. Some make $50,000. Some grow into full companies and get sold. This is the model with the highest ceiling, the strongest long-term value, and the greatest leverage. It's not easy, but it's the most profitable side hustle in this entire ranking. Now that you've seen all 7, let me leave you with a thought. Making money isn't just about choosing the best path. It's about choosing the path that fits you. Some of these hustles will excite you, some won't. But the one that feels right to you, that's the one that will change your life. Not because it's the easiest, but because you'll actually stay with it long enough to see the results. 6 months from now, your income could look completely different. $1,000 more, $5,000 more, maybe even more than that. And when that happens, your life feels lighter. You make decisions differently, and you feel something that most people never feel in their 20s: control. If this video helped you, hit the like button and subscribe for more. And if you're serious about building a real income this year, watch the next video waiting for you. It might be the one that sparks your breakthrough. I'll see you there.